having OCD in the workplace. So for me, I have been really lucky in the sense that I have a fantastic workplace. There's always been a lot of flexibility. I can partially work from home. So that definitely made it a lot easier when I was struggling from really, really severe OCD. It was mainly, I think, when I was having the kind of health fears, and the sensations that came along with that. And I definitely thought that working was making me feel worse. So I remember, sitting at my computer and thinking, I need to be like up and doing something to distract myself. But because I'm not doing that, and because I'm just sat here, I'm feeling these sensations constantly, and there's no kind of break from it because I'm just sat here in my own head all day. So I definitely thought that work was making me feel worse. I now know that that's not the case, and I'm really grateful that I did persevere. I did have times where I didn't persevere, and I was off sick for a little while, and I had days where I just didn't feel like I was coping at all, or I'd be getting up from my desk every 2 minutes to go to the toilet or make a cup of tea, just because I felt like I needed to get away. That feeling of wanting to get away from something is really, really prominent with people with OCD. Being stuck, feeling like you're stuck in one place and you can't get away from it. But what you're actually trying to get away from is your mind. You're not trying to get away from the place that you are, but you can't get away from your mind. So you're trying to get away from where you are, thinking, well, maybe that'll help. But you're not feeling stuck where you are. You're feeling stuck in your brain, and that goes with you wherever you go. So, but sitting, at my computer and working, I would be feeling all my physical sensations, all my, shooting pains in my arm, going up into my neck, and all my kind of feelings in my head. And, on the odd occasion that I felt unable to deal with it and I would, be off sick, I found it got a lot worse. It got so much worse because I was avoiding, and all you do when you avoid something is you tell yourself, this thing is really scary, so I need to avoid it. And as soon as you do that, OCD starts setting off all the fear receptors because you've enforced that this is a scary thing. I have to stay away from this. This is scary. I can't deal with it. And all of those thoughts, all of those beliefs lead to those really negative, unhealthy emotions that you're experiencing. Depression, extreme anxiety, rage. It's all fueled by the strong beliefs that you're holding. The first thing I do when I speak to people is I like to know their work situation, because for me, I think going into work, particularly when, days that I was going into the office, because I would be sat there, and I find it really funny looking back on it now because no one had any idea. And I just think that's crazy because in my head, I was crumbling. Like, I was barely eating. I just felt like I wasn't functioning at all. But I mean, in that time, I got a promotion. Like, I made good friendships with colleagues. I was doing all this stuff, but in my head, I wasn't there. So, and I don't know how no one knew. I don't know how no one looked at me and thought she's dead in the eyes, because I must not have looked how I felt because no one knew. But yeah, it was completely autopilot. It was, yeah, I still find that crazy. Whenever I think about that, I don't understand how it just wasn't noticed. And that's definitely not like bad on anyone's behalf. People should have noticed or anything like that, because you become a master at covering it up. You're very good at, I could be sat there laughing away when in my head I'm going, oh my God, I can't deal with this one more day. but I'm laughing because you just have to. There's no other way. You just keep going and you just get through it. But yeah, the first thing I want to know is what people's work situation or what people's daily routine is like. And that's just because I cannot enforce people going into work anymore, because I just think it's the highest level of frustration tolerance to go into a place where you feel that you're unable to leave, because obviously you can't, well, you can get up and walk out of work, but it's frowned upon. So you feel like you're stuck in this place. So, you know, that in itself can be really, really anxiety inducing. Also, you know, you're having to perform, you're having to do all these tasks. And if you're feeling really overwhelmed with OCD at the time, that can be so difficult. And I mean, I know how difficult that is. Going into work was really, really difficult for me for a very long time, just because I knew that all the feelings would come up while I was there, because I wasn't sat playing on my phone. Because my biggest compulsion, I always say that my biggest compulsion was confessing to my mum, but I definitely think at one point I actually had a bigger one of playing games on my phone. I'll probably talk about this in a separate video actually, because I don't think I've spoken much about that compulsion. But yeah, one of my biggest compulsions was playing games on my phone. If I was at work, I couldn't play games on my phone. And if I wasn't playing games on my phone, I was thinking about OCD. I mean, I was still doing it when I was playing the games, but at least I felt a little bit distracted. So yeah, going into work was massively, massively triggering for me. But after a while of sitting there every single day and refusing to, because all I wanted to do all the time was put my computer down and just go, I can't, like, it was just such a strong urge all the time to stop working. It's like something screaming in my head going, no, you're making yourself worse. You're making yourself worse. You can feel all these emotions now because this is making you worse. But by working through that and not paying any attention, well, I was paying attention completely. It had my full attention. But by not changing what I was doing, because you're only giving it your full attention if you actually start acting on what it's telling you. So yes, it can be telling you that, and yes, that is going to keep playing in the back of your mind constantly because you're afraid of it. But only by acting on that are you truly listening to it. So by not acting on that, which I didn't, you know, I would sit there day after day with my, you know, vision blurring and tinnitus coming in and a numb left arm, shooting pains, all of this stuff. And I would just sit there and keep going and keep going and keep going. And, you know, derealization, depersonalization the whole day. When I was driving home, I wouldn't even remember getting from work to home because I was so depersonalized at that time. And just eventually, I don't even remember it happening. And the reason I don't remember it happening is because I stopped caring. Once you stop caring, like truly, not pretend to stop caring or not force yourself to stop caring, but once you truly stop caring, you don't notice it go, because it doesn't make a difference to you whether it's there or not. You know it's not going to change what you do that day. So whether it's there or whether it's not, it doesn't matter. So that's why you don't notice it, because it's fine. It's just, it starts, I don't know if it gradually goes away. I don't know. One day it's just gone completely. I'm assuming it's a gradual shift. However, you just don't notice it. You don't notice it as you start to get better in pretty much every element. You don't notice it because you don't care anymore. Not having that internal thermometer constantly measuring. I hope this video helps, and feel free to pop any questions in the comments below or any suggestions you have for any videos that you would like me to cover. Thank you.